So I was reading with interest that California are going to make it illegal for devices to be sold with weak passwords from 2020. Looking at some of the key points of the bill which has just been approved, so the key points. It's referring to the security of connected devices, or IoT, Internet of Things, Internet of TAT, whatever you would like to call it. So a manufacturer of a connected device should equip the device with reasonable security feature or features that are all of the following: appropriate to the nature and function of the device, appropriate to the information it may collect, contain or transmit, designed to protect the device and any information contained therein from unauthorized access, destruction, use, modification or disclosure. And perhaps the most interesting section, if a connected device is equipped with a means for authentication outside a local area network, the pre-programmed password should be unique for each device manufactured. And the device should contain a feature that requires the user to generate a new means of authentication before access is granted to the device for the first time. And connected device means a device which is a physical object that is capable of connecting to the internet directly or indirectly, and it is assigned an IP address or Bluetooth address. The manufacturer means a person who manufactures or contracts with another person to manufacture on the person's behalf connected devices that are sold or offered for sale in California. Perhaps in some ways it's still going to be a limited impact, although there is Silicon Valley in California, but how much of the devices really are manufactured by the likes of Microsoft, Google, Apple, bearing in mind there are a whole multitude of other IoT devices which are manufactured in China, but may have been designed by many companies outside of California. I don't think those are going to be within the list. But perhaps this is some way a step forward into ensuring there is better security over these, well frankly these awful devices, because I would say in some ways that security in many IoT devices is about 20 or 30 years behind the current state of security within desktop or laptop computers. And let's not forget we had things like the Mirai botnet, which was on digital video recorders and cameras, and led to some of the biggest distributed denial of service attacks. Although the problem has been reduced somewhat thanks to action by internet service providers. The reason it was so successful is because all the devices had default passwords, and these were the list of passwords that the Mirai botnet would try. And this was attempting to authenticate on the telnet port, so TCP port 23 or 2323. And there was even a similar problem with Raspberry Pis, with the default username and password in Raspbian being Pi and Raspberry. So if that was left open on SSH port, so TCP port 22, it was quite easy to scan and attempt to try that username and password. So those devices would be turned into crypto coin miners. Yes, it sounds absolutely pathetic to attempt to mine crypto coins off a Raspberry Pi, but given a sufficient number of devices and the fact that the attacker was not paying for the electricity, it is conceivable they could have generated a reasonable amount of money off it. We do have companies like Canonical who are attempting to provide a solution with these Snap applications, and that they have a distribution specifically designed for using on IoT devices, given that the problem is really affecting Linux devices. I wouldn't say it's affecting Apple or Microsoft devices, no, it is more confined to Linux. Cheap devices which have been thrown together to meet a perceived market demand. So is the solution that California is attempting to propose the right one? Or would this problem be solved over time? Who's to say the unique password on devices may be something like password 1, password 2, password 3, etc. Or could it be designed off the MAC address, in which case that will be easily identifiable? On the other hand, I do have to consider things like routers, which nowadays do have a unique password for each device. Although I think it was something like the British Telecom devices or the earlier home hubs where the algorithm to make the password was discovered. I can't think of where the article on that would be, so I'm just kind of going with something I vaguely remember. Is it really the best solution? Well, I would think market forces would even things out in the end, and that government meddling may not always be the best answer. So that is the news that California will be banning simple passwords on devices in 2020. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all later.